All right.
This is TCG Podcast.
Yeah,
Let's not get into the interpersonal relationships here.
Do you want to become a part of a community that we're...
I forgot we're sharing a camera.
What?
I'm so used to not being on camera.
It's a recording.
We are recording for you. I definitely got that one.
Something about it is just... It happens when it's in front of your face like that. Well, I get it, Mars.
Take two.
Sully's Boy presents the Talkin Shop Podcast. I'm your host, AJ Giron, and my life couldn't be better. Joining me today is Benz Hoffmeyer, the hardest worker who plays the least. Cain Rule, the best community builder out here, but our worst judge because he doesn't actually play his own game.
Hello.
And the local we can't seem to get rid of. Other people call them family, but we just call them fam. Nad fam.
Hello.
Sush is now currently married, and Mubaraz is MIA.
Congrats to Sush and maybe Mubaraz.
So if you guys could, again, just say your name, what's your relationship to the shop, what year did you start coming, and what game do you play? Benz, why don't we get started with you?
Yeah, so hey guys, like AJ said, my name is Benz. Yes, that is actually my name. My mommy gave me that name, just like the Mercedes. I am relationship to the shop. Well, one could say I'm married to the shop. I work the front, I work the back, I work the shows, I help AJ with content. So I kind of just like dabble in everything. So I'm just everywhere here. And I've been coming to the shop since, I want to say, like maybe mid-2023 or late 2023. I came for Magic Locals. And I am still our resident Magic player. So that is my main poison of TCG.
Even though you don't play that much anymore?
Because I'm always working. But that is okay because I love the game. I love supporting our players. And I do get to play sometimes. Not that often, but I do get to play sometimes.
Nice. And then Cain, if you want to do your intro.
Yeah, of course. So I am Cain. I am our judge here. I used to work here a lot, but obviously I moved recently, so I'm only here on local days, sadly. And I think I started coming here two-ish years ago, like exactly around this time. So it's like my anniversary, actually, which is crazy to think about coming up. Yeah, but I started playing locals, and then we needed a judge since our judge left. Mm-hmm. And I stepped up, and I became our judge, and I love just building a community around that, and just having newer players that are unsure, because again, it's a anxious thing of playing locals, and I like to make sure that they feel safe. Yeah. So that's been me ever since.
And this was all for Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
All for Yu-Gi-Oh. All for Yu-Gi-Oh. Nothing else. I knew nothing else before coming here. Like, I dabbled, did not know it. Mm-hmm. Now I play everything.
I was about to say, you're always down to pick up a new game.
Oh, always, yeah, because it's fun. Because I love seeing every single group and like how they interact. Yeah. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh, completely different people than of course like Pokemon players, Magic players. Yeah. And I love that. And
then Nad, if you could intro yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Nad. That's N-A-D, like the second part of Gonad. I am kind of a TCG baby, though I've been coming to the shop since it pretty much opened. I haven't been playing TCG very much. Somebody just pointed me into the direction of Sully's, and I rolled up, and I sleeved up, and I started playing, and honestly, it's been addicting, to say the least.
I think you were probably the first person that I interacted with as a regular. It was between you or Benz, from what I can remember.
Yeah.
But when did you start coming? Was it the summer of 23?
23?
Was it 23 or 24?
For me, it was 23, roughly. I want to say 23.
Because I was hired on in the spring of 23.
So surely I was also there in 23. My memory isn't the greatest, but yeah. I started coming. When did Sully's open?
Winter of 22, so December 22.
So it must have been OPO 3.
Yeah. It was like the game was still super early on.
Yeah. I was definitely sometime early 2023 for sure.
So I'll say 2023.
Because I hadn't met you at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially for me, because Magic Locals were only on Monday for Commander, and Commander was the only format that I play. So I would come, and a lot of times people wouldn't show up. So I would just either talk to AJ or Jacob. And I hadn't met a lot of like the regulars because there really wasn't like a Magic crowd. So
Yeah.
I hadn't really met anyone in the abode other than like AJ and Jacob.
Yeah, AJ was very welcoming to me, but I was also annoyingly in the shop like all the time, even on days where like locals weren't even happening. I would just show up and find somebody to play with, and if nobody showed up, oftentimes I'd like pull one of the staff.
So we've already started talking about community, and that's what the basis of this whole podcast episode is going to be about. Local game stores and the role they play in the TCG community. Local game stores have been the bastion for hobbyists since the dawn of the tabletop. Board games, card games, role-playing sessions. Sully even described this place to me as a hangout spot. He didn't talk about the profit or making money or stuff like that. It's just about getting people together, and that's what he wanted it to be. Even though originally he just wanted this to be like a storage place. But now we're like here super late. We're doing late nights, hanging out, and people. I think it's incredible that people are willing to commit one day out of every week to coming here. You know. We'll get into maybe profit a little bit later, but I want to ask you guys. Why are local game stores so important? And I want you to answer it through what is it to be a part of a community? And then what does it mean to be a part of the Sully's Abode community? Cain, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, so absolutely. So I think, how do I get into this nicely? So it is nice to have a community like that, or what it is to me is you meet people that you wouldn't get to know normally. Mm-hmm. So like, pretty anxious normally, as we know. I have, but I'm really familiar once you start talking to me.
Yeah.
In a card shop like this, you have to sit down with another person and you have to talk. You have to interact.
Yeah.
And you can start building trust. You start building your relationships by playing a card game that you both commonly share.
Yes.
And that's really important to me. And I think that's why most people do it. I mean, most of the players I've seen, I would never know them outside of the shop.
I think that's a huge part of it.
And that's like every shop I've been to. I've met so many people that I would have never guessed would be one of my best friends.
Yeah? Oh, that's so sweet. Cain and, Ned and Benz, you guys can talk about this too. It's like the power of this like shared interest, right? It probably makes it so much easier to get along with somebody. Benz, if you want to take over.
Yeah, I think for me, like, for context, it's like sibling-wise, it's only my sister and I. And she was never really into TCG as much as I was. So it wasn't like I could kind of like force her to play with me. Like even though I had a partner to play with, I couldn't force her to do something she didn't want to do. And my friend groups, back in the day, like we had some shared interests, but it was never like the anime TCG gaming realm. I was kind of like the oddball out where like when they went home, they did one thing. And when I went home, I did another.
Right.
So it's been honestly very welcoming ever since I've been coming here. Especially like AJ mentioned, when I first started coming, I was really nervous because I had never played in a commander pod outside of like my newer like adult friends,
Right.
like post high school. And once that play group kind of fell apart, I was like, well, I still want to play the game, you know, so I got to go somewhere. And it was really nice how coming into the shop, I found out that Jacob and AJ play Commander, and there were definitely days where like no one would show up, and they kind of felt bad, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to play a game? Like
Exactly.
it's not busy right now," and they didn't have to because like they were working, right? So that meant a lot to me, and I was able to like latch on to like AJ and Jacob in a sense. Because I'm just a local where there is no local support because Magic players weren't showing up. But at least the staff was able to be like, you know what, like I love the game too. I hate to see you sit here.
Yeah.
Like I hope you can enjoy that as well. So like that was kind of my first interaction with like an LGS, and then again like getting support from the staff as well.
That was kind of similar to my experience. I didn't even know a concept of a local game store. I didn't even think that necessarily communities were built around, the spaces that people enjoy their hobbies in. I grew up just playing video games for the most part, and I was working remote at the time. And I needed a hobby. Well, I needed a hobby to interact with people. As like sad as
Aside
that
from the
sounds.
internet.
Yeah, it was bad. And literally, I was just buying the product because I liked the art, and
Right.
I hadn't even like caught up with One Piece or anything like that. I just thought it looked so nice. And somebody literally at Barnes and Noble just pointed at me like, "Oh, do you see like Sully's Abode? It's right over there." So my partner and I checked it out, and I was like totally turned off at first because, funnily enough, like I just don't like Funkos, and Sully's Abode used to have a wall of Funkos.
Oh,
It
it's
was
a small shop.
crowded too because
Yeah.
it was so
It was-
small,
yeah,
so
it
the
was a-
Funkos suffocated you.
But strangely enough, because there was at least somebody to play with, One Piece was kind of popular at the time, so there was a scene there. Though I didn't really befriend any of them until much later. But at the end of the day, the shop was so welcoming that I always found myself coming back to Sully's Abode to play One Piece. And at the time, I was like such a TCG baby, like I was saying. I had no idea what I was doing. I was opening packs and then getting like 3-cent rares and trying to like trade them in.
It's like, you guys want this, right?
Yeah, it says rare on it. So. But the idea that I was trying to go everywhere to find product, but I found myself coming back to Sully's not only because they were, even sometimes when I knew that there wasn't a product available, I would still go just to get that interaction that I was seeking. Because oftentimes when you go to stores, sometimes it's like understaffed, or there's people there that aren't willing to play with you or hang out with you in such a friendly manner.
Yeah.
They're there to give you transactions.
And I think too, like it kind of ties into like the stigma that some like local game shops or like hobby shops have, where it's like, there's already stereotypes and stigma that comes with like TCG and TCG players and people that interact with it. And before Sully's, like I would definitely walk into like other LGSs, and the vibe was just off, right? Like
Right.
I didn't feel like it was a clean space.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that the player base was someone that I wanted to play with, because when I play Magic or any other TCG, at the end of the day, like, one, I want to touch cardboard.
Yeah.
And two, I want to have fun with my friends. And I can have fun with strangers at a table, but they're not there for that.
Yeah.
A lot of times at these other LGSs, I feel like the player base is, I want to pummel you into the ground and I want to win. I want to show you how strong my deck is.
Right.
And that's not the type of play style that I look for. So it's kind of like this overarching idea that, well, if this LGS is like this and this LGS is like this, then all of the other ones must be like this
Right.
also, because it feels so competitive and, like you said, so business transaction oriented rather than actually building a community.
Exactly, and I really valued the idea of just having fun, which is why, when I first got into One Piece, it was like so bad. I was finding every deck list online and just trying to build the wackiest decks, and then I felt like I couldn't play those decks anywhere besides Sully's, because I just liked the
Because we were bad.
because everyone at Sully's Abode is terrible. No,
We were
All the
really
players
talented locals
are
for a long
bad.
time.
yeah, it was honestly one of the most competitive scenes in the area. Rather, like, I was impressed by the player base, but it wasn't always so sweaty. It wasn't always so. I guess like the whole pummel you into the ground.
Well, because the game was new too.
Yeah, true.
I want to go to Benz's point where you mentioned joining the communities at Sully's, right? There was like a Magic community, which was really small.
Yeah.
Ned, when you joined in, there was already like a very established One Piece community. In fact, it was our biggest one at the time. But Cain, you in particular were able to build up the
Yes.
Yu-Gi-Oh one, because when I was first hired on, there's like this hilarious story of, I think it was it was my first day ever hired on. And Sush and Danny came to visit me. Sush was a part of the last episode. Danny's a very close friend, his best man. They came for Yu-Gi-Oh! Locals and were the only people to play in it.
I've heard this. I've heard this a lot.
And I think
Wow.
they slammed like 6 to 8 locals just to be
Yeah.
able to get the OTS packs.
I do remember when I first started coming here, I think locals was me, Tyler,
Yeah.
and then 2 other random people usually, maybe Brian, and that's it. And that was locals for about 2 months, 3 months. And then again, once I started becoming a judge, I started realizing, oh, people don't know that we do locals here for this game.
Yeah.
And they're also usually scared. As Ben said, like, usually the card shops can be a little scary because people are very competitive. And it kind of ruins the fun of it, I feel like, sometimes. And like that's kind of like I stopped playing when I was 15 because I was dueling against men who were in their 30s and we're just kind of just not talking. I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
And you're still a boy in high school.
Yeah, I can barely drive. I can barely drive, and they're like just staring at me, doing the blank stare and just shuffling the cards. I'm like, I can't do this. So I just stopped going.
Yeah.
And then coming here, though, everyone was friendly. The staff was great, as Ben's mentioned. But yeah, I really built this community. I feel
You
like
really did. Once you got like signed on, and I want to ask specifically Benz and Cain about this because you guys were regulars at the shop, locals, but then eventually you guys got hired on. But while I'm talking to you, you got hired on.
Yep.
If anything, it was like volunteer work.
Yeah.
Then you got hired on. You became the judge.
Yeah.
And then I remember the first night you judged. I think I put on like my like really serious face, and I was like, hey, like this is your community.
Yeah.
Like build it. Like take the onus upon yourself and like make this your own.
Yeah, I remember because that is engraved in my mind actually. Because it was I had my first ever call, and again, I'm a tier 1 judge. It's like the bare basics. But I studied the ruling because I love the game. I want to understand it, and I was like sitting there like a little unsure because again, I'm a little quiet usually, and I was like, yeah, like I just don't know what this ruling, this and that, and you were just telling me like you are the judge. Be assertive with it. This is your game. This is your community. I'm like, yeah, and I did, and ever since I just tell them like this is it.
Yeah.
This is my ruling. If it's wrong, it's not.
Yeah,
I promise you.
Exactly.
Because I will, no joke, all day just go on through rulings on Facebook and just read them all for really niche ones like that.
Yeah. So let me spin it now on Benz. Benz, you got hired on after being like a local. What was it like to be on one side of the counter, right? Seeing like kind of the business transactions and getting to really only be a part of like one night night of play.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're in here almost like 7 days a week, and like you get to see like the operations of it all, and you get to see like I always liken the shop and our regulars to like working a bar, right? You always have like what their like usual is, like what game they play, or like maybe the kind of decks that they play. So what is it like to transition from a community member to kind of like a community organizer?
I think one thing that I really like seeing is, one, how the Magic community has grown here at Sully's. It's still not as big as some of the other TCGs, but again, like when I started coming back in the day, like early 2023, I would literally come by myself. Like none of my friends would show up, like nothing. Like I would have like all 10 of my commander decks ready to go, and I would literally just sit there and just wait. And I would doom scroll on my phone, and then like, okay, it's 8 o'clock. I guess no one's coming. So like, I'll go home now kind of thing. Like, hey, thanks AJ. Like, hope you have a good one. And like, I would try to like buy a pack or something because I essentially freeloaded, something like that. So it was definitely like disheartening at times to see that like the Magic community was as small as it was. Like at many times it felt like it was just me, at least for Commander, because obviously Draft and other formats, like that's its own separate entity, right? And like, I think one of the things too was that we were one of the few shops that was able to get their hands on so much One Piece product. So I think One Piece really outshined Magic. And a lot of Magic people that I would talk to are like, oh yeah, that's the One Piece shop, right? Like they wouldn't associate Sully's with Magic at all, even though we had plenty of product, right? I would see stuff in here that I wouldn't see on other other LGSs, other like department stores, whatever it may be. So I was like, hey guys, like I promise, like they got stuff, like let's go. So like leading to that transition, right? Like there's definitely other people here that play regularly that I became friends with, I exchanged Discord tags with. So that was really cool to like slowly make friends in a community that's not my typical community, right? So then to transition into the workplace, I think one of the things too that I saw from the customer side was like how much Magic struggles here, because one, like it's not bringing in like cards are not super expensive in Magic compared to like One Piece and Pokemon and all the other TCGs. So a lot of times, because people didn't know what was good in Magic, the display always kind of looked off. Like, sure, there's cool arts, but they're only 50 cents. Like, no one's looking for those cards. So I think one of the things that I really liked to do was like organize the display, like almost tell a story in the display. Like, hey, like I know this new set is out. Look for this. Oh, this is a playable. I started making like the $1 and $2 boxes, because especially too, like as Commander players, we love a cheap format, right?
Yeah.
So we don't always want to shell out $50, $60 for just one card. So sifting through $1 or $2 cards is something more up our alley. So I think to see more people continuously come back, people are looking for that code to join, and like, you know, we have multiple pods now. Sometimes we have too few pods but not enough tables, so the pods end up being 5 or 6 rather than 4, which is really like great for me to see. And like AJ said, I don't get to play as much anymore since I'm trying to work the counter, but I'm working the counter because I want to give back to the community, right?
So I gotta ask, as part of that One Piece community that was very large at the beginning of the shop, Magic always intimidated me because, well, One Piece was my first physical card game.
Right.
I played Hearthstone a lot.
Okay.
And I know there's like roots in Magic with Hearthstone.
Yeah.
But it always intimidated me because Magic players were always saying things, even when they were playing One Piece. They were always like, oh, you know, I'm going positive, I'm a +1. And I'm like, what does that even mean?
What does
Like,
that mean?
And since Magic is like the card game, like,
I mean, it's been around for forever.
Exactly.
you
The one with the
know?
most legacy, I'd say.
Yeah.
How does it differ from building a community, like sitting there as a customer and behind the counter? Because
I think the one thing is like it always benefits us as LGS employees to at least have that game that we're interested in, right? Because then we can relate with the player. Because again, like I've sat in the chair, I still continuously sit in the chair, right? So I think seeing the same problems that I face as a player, like I know my fellow community members are facing that as well. I think one thing too is that like, you know, sometimes we're starved of certain cards or certain content or certain product, and we try to grab it whenever we can, especially because like our display back in the day, it used to be half of a display and it was only one shelf of a display. So, you know, to see it expand the way that it has, like basically making its presence feel known and letting the players know as well that like, hey, like I welcome you here and I see what your problems are, and like just let me know so I can work on it, you know, that kind of thing.
I think it's definitely impressive because, again, back when I was coming to the shop pretty often, I would low-key try to avoid like Magic days. Not because of the people or anything like that, but
It was definitely a lot worse in the older shop too.
Yeah, so I like totally didn't even recognize that there was like even product at Sully's or anything like that. It was like a totally different world for me. So it's definitely impressive, like that. There's more of a scene now. There's more space. There's more Magic, and I think you did a good job of.
Thank you.
You know.
Well, and I think too, from like a business standpoint too, like obviously you want to feed the players, but you know when you're trying to keep the lights on, especially as a new business, like you have to push the product that's going to sell, right? Like that's just good business. So like obviously. Not everyone is as understanding and as forgiving as I am, but like I understood that, right? Like I understand that you got to keep the lights on, you got people to feed at home, so like you have to push the product that's going to get you the biggest buck, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's on social media, you're pushing One Piece, or you're pushing One Piece product in the store, or incentivizing whatever it is. But I mean, like Sully's has been trying to do that since the old shop, right? Like how on Mondays, hey, you come in and you play free Commander, like we want you to keep coming back. If you sign up on the app to play free Commander, we will do buy 2 get 1 free, which I've never heard of at a shop before, right? So the house is spotting a pack for you to just rip as a thank you for coming into the shop, right? Because we're not even charging a fee to come in through the door. So it's like they've been doing that, and then I'm basically just piggybacking off of that because I know as a player I really enjoyed that because hey, more cards means more value. It's all about the value, right?
Yeah.
So I think like giving back to the community as well, like clearing up our inventory, like hey, this doesn't need to sit back there. I think it belongs up here instead because not everyone knows to look on our website. And so thinking about it from a player perspective, hey, I'm sitting down. I just want to quickly find a card, grab it, and start playing with it, you know?
True.
Okay, we're gonna take a brief pause here so I can double check on all of the equipment. My light over here died by Cain and I.
Picking up the.
You were hired on. We mentioned this earlier.
Yeah.
You were hired on from being a local. What is it like for you? Because Ben's got to talk about their experience building a community on one side versus the other side of the counter. What is your experience like that?
Okay, so with that, as a heads up, I've been to multiple shops when I was younger because again I experimented. And none of them felt like home for me. But luckily, as soon as I started coming here to Sully's, Jacob really made it friendly. Like I do remember, I think I was my second ever locals here. I had to buy it because we had 5 people only at locals.
Yeah.
And he was just talking to me, and it really just made me realize, okay, they care to talk to you. Awesome, I love that. And after I started working, I was like, oh, people don't know we have locals on Thursdays, on whatever day that we had locals. So I was like, well, whenever I'm helping somebody, let me see what their hobbies are.
Yeah.
Because everyone has their poison, even if they don't plan on buying it that that day. Because usually all of our newer players they collect Pokemon.
Yeah.
But then they play Yu-Gi-Oh! And they go, you guys have Yu-Gi-Oh! Here? I'm like, yeah, let me show you the way of it, basically. And I think it's been interesting to see oh, people just don't know, or people just don't mention it to them. I think every single person I talk to that is just shopping, I ask them hey, do you play? Do you collect? And that's how I get more players in. It's just talking about it with them.
I think for a lot of people, they somehow grew up watching the Yu-Gi-Oh anime,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and it's super nostalgic for them.
I mean, I just had a couple on the weekend come up recently, and they play casually with just casually.
Yeah.
But they don't play at shops because they're scared of the stereotypes, as Benzo mentioned, of try hard, they're unsure, people are sweaty, they don't want to not know their cards and know the proper rulings. And I just told them, I was like, hey, that's fine. Nobody knows the card game right away. Yu-Gi-Oh is really hard.
Yeah, it is so hard.
The game has plenty of issues.
I still don't understand timings. Spell speed 4.
That's a trap, counter trap. Anywho, going on. But it's just understanding hey, this is a safe place, and I like being able to see the difference of okay, here's the front end, here's the back end, and that the workers really do make the shop lively.
Now, actually, mentioning that people are scared sometimes to come into the shop, isn't your friend she's tried to get in with Union Arena and is now trying again with Pokemon?
Yes.
Do you have some sort of approach that you're trying with her?
Yeah,
or-
so I mean, honestly, I'm just trying to play with her casually.
Yeah.
The issue with Union was she bought a deck, she played it, and then she just hasn't played it since. But Pokemon, she was playing with a different friend that's out of state. She was having a great time with it. So I mentioned, hey, we can play casually at the shop because I'm trying to get her more used to understanding these are just people.
Yes. We're not gonna bite.
But I think she's scared that she's not going to know the rules. And again, newer games, I think she's unsure with. But Pokemon is really basic in theory. Mm-hmm. But also, the Pokemon community is great. And my approach is to just get her comfortable with playing it, understanding what her deck does, and then learning other decks. I think that's a big thing that people don't do is learn other decks.
Yeah.
Because I know I could read my cards and understand every bit of them. But getting her comfortable with just reading the cards, understanding the card first, and then the community and the people.
Do you feel as a judge, you kind of have to be the bridge sometimes for people that are a little bit uncomfortable? Because I can understand oh, I don't want to look like an idiot and I don't want to mess up these rules and stuff like that.
I mean, I always tell them too of I mess up constantly.
Yeah.
Again, I had to become a judge because I had to learn because I was really bad at rulings.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play inside high school. I played casual Yu-Gi-Oh with friends with 100 card decks, so the decks were this big.
Yeah.
Not playing the rules right. Our quick plays we played from hand on our turns, on our opponent's turns. Played the game completely wrong for years. And again, I just tell them hey, if you don't feel comfortable with this yet, you can play casually. Just sit there and play and just watch.
Yeah.
I always tell people that are interested just to watch how they interact, or just understand hey, this is cool, but you do have to talk to people, and that is the struggle point. But I think it's a good way of growing. I think we have a kid. I think he's 9.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, you're talking about, yes, I know who you're talking
and
about.
He's fantastic.
Yes.
He has picked up the game so fast because our community has been able to help him. And I've been able to I have a talk though with I think it's his dad and his mom.
Yes.
And just building that they were worried because card shop stigma. They walk in, I'm immediately friendly with him about it. I make sure that he feels comfortable. I feel sure that he's safe. I make sure that the players aren't messing with him because that's a big thing.
Yes.
At shops is
Not
just the
not
shops.
ours in particular, but
but just in general, just sometimes people aren't always there to do good.
Yes. I think, and I said this for the last episode too. I do think we are so truly blessed here at the abode. Maybe we are not the community for you, because like everybody's got like what they can live with, what they can't live with when it comes to people. But I truly feel that we are so lucky with a lot of our communities, like Magic, One Piece, that there are so few bad apples. Of course, there's always going to be some bad apples in the bunch. But like I truly feel like we are so lucky to have like people who are so accommodating so often and so patient. Like you said, like the Pokemon community guys, they're like great guys.
Oh, I mean, again, I don't ever play, but all friendly with me.
Yeah.
Fantastic time. Even like Magic, I never play, but I know every single Magic person basically. Like
Right.
all of our local guys. And again, I don't play. I just started playing recently. Which is crazy enough to say.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we are playing competitive games for the most part, and I think there's quite a few bad apples actually, like not here, but like I get really competitive, admittedly, but I think the if somebody's like a bad apple about or being a bad sport about it, I get really turned off to not only the community as a whole, but even playing the game like at a certain place. So coming here, I found out that there was like a lot of really respectable players, and I think that goes a long way. People like Mubaraz and Ezekiel and people like that who win or lose, there's always a smile on their face, and they're still very, very competitive and still very knowledgeable about the games that they play. And I think that goes a long way into building that community, like you had said.
And to build off of that too, like, whether you're competitive, whether you're casual, because again, like the format I play in Magic is supposed to be like a casual format.
It still
like,
makes no sense to me.
Right. Again, it's supposed to be like, like you had mentioned earlier, like Magic has been around for forever. It's like one of the big staples, like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, like they've been around for forever, right? And as obviously things get competitive, there's all these cards that still deserve like a home and a place to be played. So it's supposed to be casual, but you still get, like we said, like those bad apples that are just not there to have fun. They just want to win, which is fine, right? Like an objective of a game is to win, right? There is an objective, there is an end goal, but I think there's a better way to go about like losing, right? And so you can definitely see how sometimes when people are losing, it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to interact with this person.
Yeah.
And to even build off of that, like with the people that we have here, I think part of it is like personality and character as well. You have to be someone that is willing to not necessarily go that extra mile, but like willing to sit down and teach these people, like Cain was talking about, right? Like sitting down with a younger player that might be newer to the TCG, interacting with the family. I think like there's one other LGS that I go to personally, and they all know that I work here, like, right? Like it's essentially like it's competition walking into competition, but they don't view me like that. I'm just another local that's here to have fun and play. And they never hold that against me, right? It's not, oh, well, this is Benz from Sully's Abode. It's like, hey, it's Benz and he's here to play Magic, right? So thankfully I have like 2 LGSs, Sully's and this other LGS, where like I can just be a player and just be a person that enjoys the cardboard, right?
Yeah.
Like there's none of those like card politics that are involved with it.
For me, it was a lot of, this is going to sound weird, but consent. Because like when somebody, like for me, since I'm so new to like TCGs,
It's okay.
I'm always like, admittedly, I might come off as like a bad apple because I'm so inquisitive after I lose a match. I'm working through my head like, what could I have done differently? Because that's what I enjoy about card games, is that competitive aspect.
Yeah.
You're just squeezing value out of every card, So, admittedly, I look very angry when I lose. But what bothers me, I guess this isn't a really good thing to admit, but like when people just like, oh, you should have done this, or you should have done this without me asking me first, or me like, oh, what could I have done here?
Like that teaching moment.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely a right way to do it, and for me, like, in a couple of my stores, since I moved to California, a couple of the stores that I go to, they're like heavy on the back seating, even when you're just repping or whatever. It's a little off-putting, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, like if you build a deck and you're like piloting it, like the last thing you like, maybe for some people, because maybe some people do want their hand held while they're running through a deck, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think there is a value to just like playing your deck and learning it in a sense by just reps, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, just because you have an input doesn't necessarily mean that I want to hear it, right?
Yes.
Or like, for example, for me, like I tend to piss off a lot of like slightly more competitive Magic
Right.
players because I don't play optimally at all. They're like, oh, well, here's Benz with this commander. He must be playing this card and this card and this card. I'm like, I promise you, it's not that deck. And like, they go into it being like, so you have this card, right? I'm like, no. And they're like, well, why? I'm like, because I'm not playing that
It
deck.
exists. Why isn't it in your deck?
Right. It's like there's that, again, it's going back to that stigma where it's like if you're not playing objectively correct and not building objectively, you know, power hungry every single step of the way, then you've done it wrong.
Yeah,
When it's like at the end of the day, like, yes, you're here to win, but also like I built this deck. I wanted to do this because
Right.
I wanted to do this. I can copy and paste any deck list, right?
And yeah, and 100%, if I didn't show up to Sully's or if I didn't enter these communities at Sully's, I probably would be that person.
So I guess since you mentioned it, right? Like you have these LGSs in California versus like you like playing or at least being here at Sully's. I guess what's the biggest difference that you notice in terms of the communities here versus over there?
TCG over there is definitely a different ball game. There's still communities. I'm not going to say everyone is a bad apple, like I had mentioned earlier. I just feel like it is a little bit harder to enter the groups that are already established there. I feel like the
Almost like clicky?
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, kind of, because like I feel like Sully's Abode does a good job of kind of welcoming anybody, and I think we try not to harp on people's mistakes or shortcomings too much. But I feel like because it's a little bit of like the handholdy backseater, some of the experiences that I've had in those stores, it's very much like you kind of have to earn that respect for a lot of players over there, in my experience. And part of those communities have burned me out a little bit on things. And so it's interesting because I lived here and then I
Right.
moved to California.
Right.
And then now I'm visiting here. And being back with this community has made me like nosedive back into TCG again. It comes and goes for me, but ever since being here, I haven't even played in maybe a couple of sets, but like I'm already planning on like my next deck and what I'm gonna play, and I'm looking forward to going over back to California and seeing how it fares, you know?
Yeah, I think too, like, for context, like I only met Nad back in July and we're filming this in October, right? But like in the span of 2-3 months, like I've already become so close to you and stuff like that, like hanging out outside of the shop and stuff like that, which goes back to like, there's just something about like how we value community here because we've built it up so quickly. And like, you would never think that like, oh, the Magic player and the One Piece player are going to become friends. Like our locals don't even line up on the same days. But I think because we respect each other as players and respect each other as people.
Speak for yourself. No.
And we also like share at least interests in similar things. Like you've dabbled in Magic a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, even though I've never officially played One Piece, like I definitely ask you questions and stuff like that.
I feel like you'd be a natural because I'm so jealous of the Magic players. They're playing the legacy card game.
Yeah, and so
the fundamentals are there.
I feel like it goes to show how like even from different games and from different like walks of life, right? Like being from California, I'm here, like I'm a local, but we can still become so close. And here we are,
like,
right? Now we're recording a podcast
I know,
together.
and like I was saying earlier, like we would definitely, like if this wasn't my first LGS, I definitely wouldn't have that mindset of like, oh, like casual, like.
You're like, what's casual? I've never felt that before.
But since I definitely respect that a bit more now since coming here.
Well, and I think also like, because Cain plays Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Cain also plays everything.
Yeah, Cain plays everything.
I play every game, to be fair. Because again, I want to dabble because I want to understand the
yeah.
personal group and like, okay, why do they like this game? and then also I just think it's fun learning everything.
And so like one thing I wanted to ask Cain is because like for me, I play a casual format in Magic, right? And I used to play old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day, right?
really?
I used to play the Harpy Ladies. I used to play like the Dark Magician, like all of that. But the game has evolved so much now. So have you seen anything in your community? Because I've definitely seen some Yu-Gi-Oh! Players that come in and they're playing that old school style Yu-Gi-Oh, but it doesn't compete with today's Yu-Gi-Oh because basically the goal is to win by turn one, essentially. So is there anything that you've noticed like in your community as a Yu-Gi-Oh judge, like seeing the evolution of just the game itself, since it's so fast-paced? From back in the day, it was like, I'm going to play my creature in attack mode, and I'm going to put my mirror force in trap mode, and that's it.
Yeah. So like I've definitely noticed it because like again I've been playing it for 10 years now, but like again when I was 15, my decks back then I thought were really fast and really aggressive, and then I look at it now I'm like this is the same thing just a different era it feels like. So again like I kind of do like enjoy like older players coming in though and understanding like oh like the game has changed, but Yu-Gi-Oh has gotten really good at knowing hey players aren't comfortable with these new mechanics. So luckily I have a game where we have a new format now that stops links. There's no pendulums. So it's just the basics basically, and it's a lot more beginner friendly and like old head friendly is what I call it basically. It's MST is actually amazing in this format now, which is crazy to say. Like this card's good.
I think you, and they've mentioned it, that you are so lucky to be a part, or at least to see what the other communities are like. Because I think besides me, you probably played in the most other locals. Like you've played in the UA locals, One Piece. Have you played in the Pokemon locals before?
I've not played in locals. I played during locals with Tony
Yeah.
because I was learning a deck.
You've gotten to hang out with like a lot of the Pokemon guys. So what is it like to kind of see what the other communities are like? Are they like different within themselves, or like do they kind of all just feel like Sully's abode? Like this is our community, this is our locals.
So I think it's a mixture of both, right?
Yeah.
So like every single group has their own niches that they all do. It's like again, Pokemon, they're the friendliest people. A lot of them are parents. I'm realizing are like teachers of sorts.
Yes.
That is just a common trend I've noticed. So like whenever we have like new players come in that are parents with their kids, I go, everyone here is a parent and or a teacher, so they know how to handle the children.
Yes.
They're fine. We're set there. But it is just nice, like understanding, like okay, everyone plays a card game, and I get to see, okay, why do you like this game? Thank you. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
But it's just nice, like understanding, okay, why do you enjoy this? Oh, if you enjoy this, you should try this game instead.
Yeah.
Or hey, like you enjoy this deck, you should dabble in this. And that's usually how I get people to move around.
I think that's a great point because I think some people don't realize what the other card games can like, offer them, right? It's like sometimes people are kind of tired of Yu-Gi-Oh! And like how much interaction you can get, but they like how powerful the cards are. So you can send them to Pokemon. Or like sometimes Pokemon's combo lines are too much, so you can send them to a more simple game like Union Arena or something like that.
And this is actually my big shout out for Bandai.
Yeah.
Every Bandai game is almost identical.
Yeah.
They all play very differently, but they all have the same setup. They have like their life stack, they have the same hand size. There are similar rules that you can transfer over.
Yeah.
So again, like I played One Piece. I'm not good at One Piece, but I understand it. But Union Arena is One Piece, but easier, I feel like.
Yes.
Personally. So I could play Union, and I already knew the rules after playing it for a day. So it's just like understanding that as well. So that's my One Piece. I'm just so proud of them for that, actually. Because it's so much easier. Because again, I have players that play these games that are like, well, I'm kind of interested in playing One Piece, and they play Union. I'm like, you know the basics already. You know what Rush is. You know all the trigger mechanics. You guys are set.
Yeah. If anything, like maybe you don't get along, maybe you want to be a part of the TCG hobby and you don't necessarily get along with a certain community. Maybe our Magic guys are too casual for you or something like that, you know? There are other communities in-house. Like I like to call Sully's abode like your home away from home, right? Abode, another word for home. It's like you can still find a community that you can get along with. Like maybe you want a more competitive like One Piece or like more competitive like than granted like a lot of our in-house communities I think are a little bit more on the casual side.
But like again, I think Sully's is nice because again, it is casual, but it's competitively casual is what I call us. Since people want to win, they want to compete, they want to strive to be better.
Yes.
But sometimes they want to play a silly deck.
Yeah.
And that's what I love seeing. I mean, we have a local kid who plays not a great deck, but I've watched him slowly get better with it after months, and he's been topping locals. I'm like, I'm not even mad at it.
Let's
I'm so
go.
happy for him. So like, it's just like little things like that of like, again, he came in, he didn't have a playmat, he didn't even have a deck box. I gave him those since I had extras. I'm like, hey, like you need this to play the game. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
And again, now he's topping locals. I'm like, I'm not saying I helped, but I think, but like he got into it.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
I think a funny story with me and TCGs in general was growing up. This is for all the people who played TCGs when they were younger and were bullied for it. I would always watch these people play Yu-Gi-Oh! In the library at my high school. And I was always like, like, I would never do anything like that. And but secretly on the inside, I'm like, that's so cool. They have like their own community, and they're just having like a home base. And just TCG in general is a good way to build that community or have friends that share similar interests. Because for me, I think having the idea of having like a home base, like, oh, everybody hop on League for a 5-stack, or everybody like hop on this one game that everybody enjoys, and then we're all just hanging out and having a good time. I was always really secretly jealous of those people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In the library in like 2009 or whatever. And I remember also when more recently I was working at a boba shop, and there were these two people that always came in with their playmats and would play Digimon and just have boba and just hang out.
Yeah.
And it was always like, I was less of a hateful like teenager at this point. And I would see that and be like, oh, like, what are you guys playing? And they're like, oh, we're playing Digimon. And I was like, that is so cool. Just having like kind of like a board game night, or kind of just like a thing to hang out and meet up to do casually over some boba. And having somebody to have reps with, like you were saying, is really important. And part of the reason why going to TCG is important to me now is finding somebody to hang out with and finding somebody to just rep with and test and, be able to interact with somebody that shares a similar interest. It sounds obvious, but...
Yeah.
I think being a part of a community, irregardless of whatever it is, if you are a spiritual person, if you are a part of like a school community or something, there's a lot of power in being a part of a community, because it's just like, I have these people with similar interests. I can find a support system. I can find friends maybe that will last a lifetime and stuff like that.
It's like an after-school club.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
I think people now more than ever probably, like, there's like I don't know how they say it, but it's like people are more lonely now than ever, right? And it's so hard sometimes to meet people.
Yeah.
Could you guys talk about why do you personally think it's important that we do still have these LGSs? Because we're seeing big businesses like close down, like GameStop has closed over 700 locations. Papa John's over 100 locations. Joann's, Bed Bath & Beyond, Sears,
rip.
Big business is going out of business.
Yeah.
But you still see, like, we are in a really lucky spot where there are a lot of LGSs.
Yeah.
And I think it really gives us this opportunity to meet new people. And you guys have been talking about it, but what do you think is the importance of having this in-person interaction in small business?
I think one thing that, like, a big thing too, right? Like, we opened up in 2022.
Yeah, the very
end
end of 2022, yeah.
I think one of the main things is that COVID really opened up a lot of our eyes when it came to TCG, because, at least in my realm of Magic, right? People were still sleeping up and like going in, and then the lockdowns happened, right? So they're like, well, shoot, I can't play, like, this is a physical format. I can't do this anymore. So you saw people and like app creators and whatever, like they were getting creative, and the lockdown forced them to be like, I still want to interact with my community, right? They lost that sense of self almost because the lockdown had happened. So that came this whole realm of, okay, now I'm going to video call you and set up my camera so I can still play cards with you.
I think it's so cool.
I think it was like, and I don't know if any other games have adopted this, but like essentially playing over stream, right? And there are many like Magic channels that do that, because whether like if it was a situation like I'm here, you're in California, and we still wanted to like, shuffle up and play, I can't do that.
You
If
try
you're
to
not
plug
here.
Tulare Community College right now?
That was not the intention here. But like I could, right?
Right.
And so that was the first instance of that because people were craving that attention, that connection, essentially touching grass, right? Because we were
Yeah.
locked behind four walls.
Right.
And so we saw that first instance of how important our community was to us during that COVID era.
I think
right?
Ned and I have like a really good like anecdotal thing with that because there was a point we were talking about on how we are so casual, but a lot of our players will play at regional tournaments, qualify for nationals, have played at worlds. So there is a lot of talent here for as casual as we feel. There was I think it was OP07 when Nad was in California, but Sush and I were, for some reason, Jordan like talked us into playing at a regional in Wisconsin, and Nad was also playing in their own regional out in California. I think the digital age actually really helped us a lot because we were able to test with each other.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was really important that I did that too because I think it helped me. Well, obviously do a little bit better at the regional, but two, like I don't. A lot of this podcast is me just being jealous of people, but like
It's okay to be jealous.
I never had like. I really respect one of the world champions of One Piece. He has like a brother that he really looks up to, but he's always able to rep with somebody. And going back to the whole having like a home base or like somewhere to meet up, it's really important. It was really important for me to have that digital / physical interaction over a
Right.
webcam because I just don't have like a little brother or anything like that to really rep TCGs with. I mean, I have my partner, but she only plays Blue Nami. That's not a thing anymore. So,
I want to ask because I don't think Cain has really worked for small business, so it'd be a question more for Benz and Nad. Like I don't think Vanny's house is that big of like a company or anything, but
Like 2 locations, right?
Yeah.
yeah. And then you also work at what is it, 8 Drop or 8?
I work at 10 Drop.
10 Drop. I'm sorry. Got the
Local,
number
you're all
wrong.
good. Local
Yeah.
coffee shop.
So what is it? Why do you think people, or for one thing, why do you think LGSs keep popping up in our location? And why choose small business instead of going to like e-commerce and like shopping off a TCG player, Card Market, Card Kingdom, and like stuff like that?
So for me, the one thing that one of my friends always taught me when I was first getting back into TCG, because I definitely did take a break earlier on, one of the benefits, right, of always walking into an LGS is you get to inspect the product. Because nowadays, right, especially online, you never know who's behind the screen selling you that product. Like even Walmart, they have like other sellers that are selling through Walmart or Amazon. It's not like Amazon certified. So like you never know what product you're gonna get in the mail. And then a lot of times you get screwed because you can't return it. They like all these different scams that are out there.
very relatable.
So you can at least like walk in and see the product, right? If I'm saying something is near mint, you can come in, evaluate it for yourself, and you can choose to agree or disagree and then go from there, right? Saving on shipping, that's another thing too. And I think too, like one thing that I always notice about like when an LGS pops up is, again, like the whole purpose of this podcast is like the community, because pulling from my experience as a barista at the local coffee shop, community is so important at that coffee shop as well, because it's right in the middle of Plainfield, so very small suburban, town, but everyone knows me by name, right? Typically, we don't go out of our ways to remember like typical like Dunkin' or a big chain named like baristas, because we're in and we're out, right? But you have to kind of make a commitment to like, well, I'm gonna walk into this place, and I think a lot of times from an LGS or like a small business standpoint, they're trying their hardest to get a good first impression out of you, because the goal is we want you to come back, right? We don't have endless supplies of money that's coming from corporate. And so there's part of that charisma, part of that marketing, part of like that customer service that's like, hey, I really appreciate you coming in here today rather than any of the other big name stores, and that means a lot. So like, I would really appreciate it if you came back, and I'm gonna go the extra mile to make sure that you come back, because again, you could have just gone to well-established places like Walmart, Target, that have at least some product that's not being scalped, right? But you have that opportunity to be like, hey, like, I really appreciate you coming in today. Like, I hope to see you again.
Yeah, I can attest to that because I was that person at Target or Walmart trying to grab any product I can. But for me, the comfortable atmosphere, I think just having a table to rip at or play at was really important. And
Better lighting than most shops.
It almost feels like a sin to like go into like a department store. It's like, I'm gonna grab this one
little
pack and I'm
bit,
gonna
yeah.
leave.
Everybody's,
like,
like, staring
nobody
at you.
nobody look at me, please, please.
Yeah, I mean, it was so hard to find One Piece product to begin with that
Yeah.
I got into the hobby by picking up packs at Hot Topic of all places.
That's crazy. I didn't even know Hot Topic did that.
Yeah, and so I picked up some packs and I opened it and I was like, this is amazing. And then you know, the rest is history. But for me, I just wanted a place to deck build and have a place to sit and meet people where, you know, if they were doing the same thing or they were cracking open One Piece. I think it was really important that I have some place to sit that's comfortable and, you know, a welcoming atmosphere.
Air conditioned.
Right. And so I'm not like on the floor of like Walmart ripping. But I think there's the aspect that you had said of like, oh, you know, they'll have product available for the most part. And I think the idea of being able to like deck build or crack open a thing and be like, oh, you know, I didn't get a full play set of these fucking $20 Marcos. Like maybe the shop will have a copy that I can
Right,
you know,
like
see.
you can look for specific
Exactly.
products.
Yeah.
Whereas like, and I think you touched on something that I missed out on was like the missing the product, right?
Right.
Because you're not rocking up to the Walmart CEO and be like, hey, can you order more of this like this booster set? Like, you can't do that, but you can at least have that conversation with your LGS and be like, hey, are you going to get more of this product? Because a lot of that in those big name department stores are just like, when our distributor gives it to us, right?
Right.
And there's no guarantee that they're going to order it again. They're just on to the next profit.
Yeah.
right?
And also doing things online is a nightmare.
It is
mostly,
horrible
yeah.
now because you get beat out by bots.
Yeah,
right.
It's just like, I mean, Ripbound is like impossible to get within 2 minutes. Like, you're
Yeah.
seeing that a lot with a lot of the One Piece product that's out right now, and even LGSs are, you know, trying their best, but you know,
Yeah.
there's only so much product available.
And I think another thing that I pull from doing so many shows through the shop, we actually get like a lot of like at least like still like Midwest people, so like Minnesota, Michigan, like Indiana, that kind of community. A lot of times when I interact with them, like I truly do enjoy having conversations with most of the people that come to our tables and stuff like that. And one of the things that I find about at least One Piece players specifically here in Illinois, like it's not super hard now to
Yeah.
get product. I know there was once a time that One Piece was super hard to attain.
Right.
But one thing that I consistently find is that in other states, especially like Indiana, like any customers I interact with from Indiana, they are starving still for One Piece product.
Right.
And I think they appreciate that I'm like, oh, really? Like, I'll hook you up. Like, it's fine. Like, come on in. Like, and I think it's that thing where it's like, we can at least fulfill that need. Whereas if you're going to these big corporate stores, they're like, well, if we don't have it, we don't have it. Like, deal with it,
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing. Whereas like we are trying to feed the players, right? We want you to enjoy the game as much as we do. So we will try our best to get you the product.
I think it goes a little bit back to what I was saying earlier about like just having that welcoming atmosphere for us to be able to sit and, you know, play with the things that we're freaking buying, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why, going back to why most or a lot of physical businesses are kind of going out of business is because like it's strictly transactional. It's strictly like there's nowhere to enjoy the things that you're using or playing. And we see places like GameStop really have a similar like niche, but it's really not a place to just enjoy the things that you're
Right.
opening.
Get in, get out, and play at home.
Exactly,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, heck, our old store used to be in an old GameStop, so that goes to speak within itself, right? And the fact that we were able to take over an old GameStop and grow into the bigger shop and community that we are today speaks volumes because, again, it's, if it weren't for AJ, if it weren't for Jacob, if it weren't for Cain, like all of the older as in more senior employees, not older. The more senior employees, like they definitely laid the groundwork, right? Because if they were not interested in the TCG, it could just be like that, teen, slightly young adult dude that's like really grungy behind the GameStop counter that wants to, not be there and quit and put in the towel. Like these people that are working in your LGS that truly care about you, you can tell that they want to be there. And I think one thing that we always talk about here as employees, it doesn't feel like work, right?
Never.
I get to clock. I am lucky to say that I get to clock in and do a 4, 6, 8 hour shift, and it feels like time flew by.
Yeah.
Am I raking in the big bucks? No, but I am enjoying this so much more that it truly does not feel like work. And I've been here since May, and never once has it felt like, oh man, I gotta clock in again. Like I gotta work the counter. I gotta list all these things. It's like I get to interact in a hobby that I truly enjoy, and I hope that shows with the customer base as well.
I think it does. Like, I was thinking about it as you were talking, just about like building the community and having a place to hang out and play.
Mm-hmm.
If there wasn't people behind the counter to really welcome in those people, like if you think about it from a child's point of view, who's like into Pokemon or anything like that, if there's not an LGS for them to hang out at and open and enjoy the hobby, I don't think any kid wants to hang out in a Target or a Walmart like with all of the 30-year-olds.
And I know as a kid, like there weren't really LGSs for me to hang out at, so I was like, well, I have my cards at home,
Right.
And just kind of like building up of that, like going out to like Target, buying
Yeah.
packs. I used to do that all the time because it was during COVID.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
fun, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's fun, but like the issue
You get
was
things,
I would buy packs at Target. I would go into my car, open a pack, and go, "Wow, I pulled this this card that's $20. Awesome." Then I just
Yeah.
drive home in silence.
There's like
Yeah, you have
nobody
no one to
celebrate
share it with,
Yeah.
right?
Like here, again, I'll have people buying product. They'll buy like a pack or two, and I'm like, "Do you want to rip it now?"
Yeah.
And I'll look at them and they go, "Yeah, I do." And as soon as I get just get like a hit, I'm like, "Do you want to sleep?" Like, because like I'm celebrating with them.
Absolutely.
Just being able to like share that moment with them makes them go, "Oh, this is thank you. That like this is worth doing. Like this is fun." It's not just like, "Oh, this is cool. Sleeve done."
And if anything, they take that moment home with them,
Exactly.
right?
Right,
There was like somebody
exactly.
to celebrate with,
Yeah.
like, oh my
A
God.
shared moment.
Yeah, if you're new to the hobby and you rip this card that's like $200, you remember where you ripped it with, the emotion that you felt, who was in there in that moment with you.
It's just there's just energy with that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
again, it's just like opening brand new sets. I could buy a box, go home and rip it. I'm gonna have no emotion with it.
Yeah.
If I'm here and I'm with my friends and my boys, and I open the chase it, I'm popping off. You're gonna hear me screaming across the room.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew just ripped, what, the Gengar or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, the
We're all
Gengar from Gem Pack 3, and I'm like, oh man, I want it so bad. I think it also goes to show, like, right, like, again, NAD living in California, but whenever they do visit, they make a point to come here. They don't have to, like, they don't work here, but they do, right? You have Cain, who doesn't live near here, definitely makes about an hour plus commute to get here, but yet still shows up. Like, why? I'm sure there are some card shows that are, or card shops that are closer to Cain,
Yeah.
but Cain drives here for a reason, right? It's the community that he's helped build and the community that supports him as well,
Yeah, I think I have a similar story because there were places near me that were closer when I lived in Illinois, and like I always had my criticisms about them. And one of the big things was like I always joke with AJ about this is like the lighting
Yeah,
in some of these dingy dark dungeon-esque like card shops. It's like I get the aesthetic is like we're playing Magic the Gathering in like
Yeah.
lowly lit rooms,
But it
and-
doesn't have to be mom's basement anymore,
exactly. It's like I can't read the cards that I want to play.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like it feels cleaner. We definitely do get jokes sometimes from customers that come in like, "Wow, it's really dark in here." And I'm like, I promise it's brighter than most, right? There's only so much lighting we can do in here.
No, I will say like our shop is like aesthetically pleasing with our lighting. I feel like it's like I've
Yeah.
seen shops where it's very sterile.
Yeah.
Of I'm blinded. I get a headache. I'm like I don't
Yeah.
know what my cards say, or like I have like a shiny card. I'm like I can't read this in this lighting. I don't know what this is saying to me.
Like this is my favorite lighting right now. The
Oh.
mood lighting that we have
Yeah.
going on. Like if you're ever in the shop really late at night, you'll get the chance to see it because AJ also gets a headache from the industry lights or
Fluorescent.
whatever. Yeah, the really
Yeah.
big like
Because
lights.
I think it was back at the older shop. I would get every single day headache.
Yeah, because those were like right on top of you.
Yeah.
Just on top of
And they
it,
get
like,
hot.
yeah, yeah.
Very hot.
I think, of course, the actual worst thing was like summer. We had the sun directly inside our window.
There was-
and me playing locals. I'm just
Oh.
doing this, just going.
And then
Yeah,
you're
okay,
just
that's good.
sweating next to everyone else next to you, and it's just like, this feels like a GameStop for sure.
Do you want to become a part of the community that we cherish? Well, Sully has you covered. Our displays feature many shiny cardboard and highly sought-after playables that you can't find online. Can't join us in person? Well, we ship worldwide, and the rest of our inventory, as you see here, is available online. If you can't make locals, join our Discord, and you can catch some webcam games like I have to. Are you already part of a community? Looking forward to new sets like OP13? Pre-order from our website, sullysabode.com. You can pre-order from the newest Union Arena sets, Kaiju number 8 and Yu Yu Hakusho. HoloLive Set 3 pre-orders are up, and Elite Spark features everybody's favorite Shrine Maiden, Sakura Miko. New games like Gundam and the League of Legends card game, Riftbound, are also available for pre-order.
Oh, sick. That was good. I wanted you to read that one because I think we've talked about Yu Yu Hakusho, and obviously HoloLive is something that
All right. And don't forget that the shop hosts its own shows. The Sully's Card Expo will be on October 26th from 12 to 6 p.m. in our own house. The abode will host 12 other vendors, and you'll get to see our exclusive show displays, stuff that you typically don't see on a day-to-day basis here. High-end product and highly sought-after cards that you won't find anywhere else. You're almost guaranteed to find your grail and have a good time. Show up early and a free pack of the new Maga set to the first 100.
So we are so incredibly fortunate to live in an area where there are so many shops. Like we have about 10 shops that are probably within like 45 minutes of each other. Goblin Games and Ninja Cats are both new shops to the area. There are shops around the area that have been longer than Benz has even been alive. Dean's Dugout, Pastime, Hot Sauce, and other stores are expanding. Chupacabra, I think, is picking up a new location, and TGS obviously already has 2 locations. So what is it about the hobby that keeps people coming back to either these new communities or starting their own or joining the ones that are already established?
So, personally, I do find it is a found like a family, because every single shop, they all have their own dynamic, their own culture there.
Yeah.
And you get to explore and figure out, okay, which home is my home? Thank you. Of which home is of course my like home. And I don't know if you guys feel the same about Sully's. Obviously, that's why we all come here. This is our home.
Yeah.
And I made that really clear. And I think I had a talk with you guys before. But like, I'm comfortable here. I look forward to, okay, it's Thursday. I'm driving an hour and 30-ish minutes during rush hour traffic from downtown to make it here. So I think that's a big thing of why is it working? Why is it really helpful? And also after COVID, actually being able to physically play with your cards in person is a big thing. I'm realizing, because like I can't play online.
Yeah.
I hate playing online. That is the one thing that I disagree with the most. Is not a fan of it.
Yeah, maybe not in a competitive sense.
No, but just like I enjoy sitting across from another human being and being able to talk with them about it. You know?
For me, I think I keep coming back to the hobby. Again, it comes and goes, to be honest, but I think there's comfort in coming back to a hobby that it sounds cheesy, but it feels like the sets keep coming out quicker than I keep up with. But I feel like the people and just the
Atmosphere, maybe?
the atmosphere, yeah, stays pretty similar no matter how long of a break I take. I think a lot of games. I know Magic is pretty famous for this, but you can kind of build a deck and have it last a long time. There's a sense of like future proofing, like a deck that feels really good.
Must be nice.
Even just today, I kind of brought back a Red Zoro. And I was talking to my friends about it and people I was playing against, and I was like, I haven't updated this deck in quite a while, and it's still kind of doing its job and doing what it needs to for me to take some games here and there. And I think there's I think being able to just hop in and sleeve up and then shuffle up and then just play, even if it's with an outdated deck. I think there's always still fun playing with the physical cards themselves. That goes a long way. Going back to the digital thing, like I sometimes feel like I have to, but I so much even prefer webcam games over the Sim or any online client. Even though I have played a lot of like digital card games, it's just not the same.
It's
you
not.
know.
And especially if you're playing with AJ, who likes to, flip through his cards, right? I think one thing also that I find is kind of just like the era that we live in right now. We kind of touched on it earlier, where like growing up, it was like you were the weird kid if you liked anime. You were the weird kid if you liked Pokemon. You were the weird kid, like you said, like that anecdote you had about like, oh my gosh, like they're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I would never do that,
Yeah.
right? In public, but deep inside you're like, man, that's so cool that like they can do that, right? And not that there isn't still stigma now, but I think we are fortunate enough now that we live in an era where it's not as cringy, right? Like it's seen almost like mainstream. We've seen like TCG, like Pokemon, that has just blown up the past year, 2 years now, right? Whether it's with their video games or their TCG, like Pokemon knows what they're doing, right? And they're doing it well. And people that have never been introduced into the hobby are now starting to come to it, and it's introducing people into TCGs.
Somehow, Pokemon just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, no matter how
I'm
much
not
they fuck up their
complaining.
games or whatever. Like,
But I feel like we are fortunate enough now that like there's almost like that leniency, right? That like, not that it was stopping us before, but now we can be like, yeah, I go to my LGS and I play Pokemon, or I go to my LGS and play Magic. What do you do when you go home, right? Like you go ahead and cook for your family. Well, I'm cooking with cardboard, so right? Like we're lucky enough now that at least we won't be like openly bullied for it, right? Because
Right.
there's at least enough support for it. I think part of that has been helpful with like some of the recent animes that have come out, like Demon Slayer,
Yeah.
JJK. Like there's definitely been a lot of like help with that realm that has shed a light on all of these, like what was previously deemed a nerdy hobby is now kind of like, well, now you have gym bros that are coming in, and the finance bros, and like people that you would not associate with our hobby are now coming into our hobby, and you don't expect them to, but when you talk to them, they're just as big of nerds as we are, which I think is, going back to like the atmosphere, right? The people that find their way here really like it and tend to stick around. And I think we are just lucky enough now that we get just a lucky enough time to just not be openly shamed for the things that we enjoy, which like us enjoying cardboard, there was never anything really wrong with it. It just wasn't the normal way to hang out, right?
it took me like 24 years to realize that. But yeah, eventually I grew into it.
Yeah.
Like COVID helped with the whole anime, everything getting more popular and stuff like that. But my story was very much like I was seeking like that social interaction, and for some reason, I was just playing card games, and that was the answer for me because I was working remote overnight. And COVID was a whole nightmare. So I think having that interaction is why we see stores opening despite it being such a niche or nerdy hobby. Like it's actually expanding from, if you look at it.
Yeah.
And
There was just the recent article in like Wall Street Journal that like Pokemon stonks, like these cards are appreciating more and they're appreciating quicker than like actual people's like stocks, like SP 500. It's like it's outperforming SP 500s, Bitcoin, and like stuff like that. So it's like a legitimate like way of making money.
Like essentially crypto at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the new crypto.
But that's like, aside the point. And I do want to continue like this community discussion. I think it'd be fun to hear from like Ezekiel or Tony, people who I truly believe are like pillars of their communities, like Jordan Flores too, for One Piece. But with you guys, I specifically just like want to keep talking about like the community aspect of it all. Not only do other people dedicate like a week or a day of their week here, sometimes we are dedicating whole weeks here. So Cain, like you would work like 8 hours at your other job and then come here and then like Benz, you too. Like everybody here at the abode has a side hustle. We're either students at school, we are working like a more corporate job or whatever. But what is it about the like local game stores and being paid for your own hobby that it's just like it doesn't feel like work anymore?
I think for me, because I am like in a corporate setting with my job, and Sully is again fortunate enough that I'm able to work here and engage in the hobby that I really enjoy. But I think for me, I think I touched on this earlier. A lot of my own personal friends outside of the abode don't interact with cardboard at all. Like it's just not their hobby. And it was always like, here's this really cool thing that I really want to talk about, but it's going to fall on deaf ears, right? Like when I go to these shows or whatever, or like I have a really cool trade that happened in the store, like me going home and talking about it to my mom and my sister, like they're not going to get it. Like they're not going to feel that same excitement. But if I, pull up to one of you guys or someone that's like at least can appreciate that TCG, like I can just say this like one sentence and we can share that sentiment together, which I can't do with a lot of people outside of the abode. Not that like I have to talk about TCG every breath of my life, but I think I find a lot of comfort having a community where like I have this hobby, and was it super crazy what I just did? No, but like look at this cool interaction that I had.
Yeah.
And it can be appreciated.
Yeah, I think having that shared moment with somebody, like even when I've seen Cain or you rip Magic, I don't know what's going on. You're like, oh, dope, this is like worth money or whatever. It's like the super dope card, and I'm like, good for you, because I actually understand what that's like.
Right.
To just open something really dope that you would play or display or whatever. And
like it travels across TCGs. So like talking about like that interpersonal community, like you're from the One Piece community, I'm from the Magic community, Cain is from the Yu-Gi-Oh community, but we can still talk about our games and still have respect for each other and still really appreciate the stories that we have for each other as well, because we understand what it's like to be in those shoes in our own TCG, and we can share that sentiment.
Yeah, I think a little anecdote that I had, a quick one, that I had won like a really, really tough locals over in California, and I had no one really to share it with. I shared it with people who didn't understand. I showed them the winner card, and I showed them the card that I won. I'm like, this is worth like $200, and they're like, cool, I guess. Good for you. And I'm not gonna share it with the people I just freaking beat. So like, I had no one to share that excitement with. Really, and I think that was really important.
Yeah, I think it's like, the whole point of like enjoying life, right, is because, it's a little cliche, but it's like you want to enjoy it with people. Like life is more enjoyable with people, and your hobby should be the same way as well, right? So I can come to Sully's or I can come to any LGS and just be like, hey, look at this cool thing that I did. And
Check out the Sully's Abode reel that I just posted about Best Friend Weekend. I say that exact same thing. Cain, what do you think about how like the energy that it gives you back? I feel like.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty obvious. I'm not a collector. I'm much more of a card game player.
Me too.
I like being the staples. I like getting my cheaper cards and playing it. And I think that's why I enjoy just like watching people rip. And obviously, I don't like ripping myself, but when I come here, I get that energy.
Yes.
I think my favorite example is Angelo.
Oh,
I love Angelo because he will rip packs. He'll pop off more than I ever will, and I'm just absorbing that energy. I feel like, because again, like I would work, as we mentioned, Jewel, for 8 hours.
yes.
I would immediately come here, work 10 hours plus. And the best part was after leaving was ripping packs with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Your pack battles with Danny like every Thursday.
I don't want to talk about that. That's personal. I won once.
Once. Oh, you did. We did that big one that one time.
Okay.
Left center, right, or something like that.
Yeah, that was great. Listen, that was my other big win, but ever since then it's been downhill. No, but just like having that connection, as we mentioned with like Benz, just having somebody to like talk to about like your big hits, pulling packs with them. Because like I have my lovely partner who supports my hobby, but I'll get a pack and be like, hey, open this, and they rip it and they look and they go, is this good? And
They don't really understand.
No, but they just see shiny and go, this is good. I'm like, that's amazing. And just trying to get that energy out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same reason why Cain and I just visit the casino and watch people win.
No, we just love watching other people win. And, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just so excited for them.
Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just those shared moments together, right? Like, you know, we saw like look at Susha's wedding that we
Yeah,
posted
oh my
about
God.
on like everyone loves that. It's like
The best night of my life.
right, like it looked so fun, right? To like, and people are coming up to us and be like, "Oh my gosh, like you riffed at your wedding, like that's so cool." Like you can take your hobby out, like I guess you can say like in the real world, right? Like there, Sush is on like one of the arguably the happiest day of his life, right? You know, he's getting married to his partner that he wants to be with for the rest of his life, and he can still enjoy his hobby on the best night of his life, surrounded by the people that he loves.
Yeah, a
And they
lot of
all
people-
support him for that, you know? And I think like that just goes to show like you can see everyone's excitement in their face. And even though I personally wasn't there, I can feel that joy through that video. I could like anybody that sees that, you can see just the energy that comes through that. And at the end of the day, we're ripping cardboard, right?
Yeah.
But like the fact that like we are able to kind of conglomerate around just this one facet is truly amazing because we can share the sentiment and the excitement together, even in big events like a wedding, right?
Yeah, it was pretty jarring to be there. More so because like, yeah, same thing. I just ripped cardboard with the guy.
Yeah.
and we had gotten so close just from being able to share this hobby together. So much so that I'm dressed up at his wedding.
Yeah.
And I feel just so close with Sush and being able to see him outside of TCG, but still kind of a part of
Right, like enjoying what he loves.
exactly.
You know?
And it was really. There are people who are. Obviously, people have lives outside of TCG, but like the way that I share like my friendship with you is mainly through TCG, and being
Right.
able to see the other facets of like your life, Kane's life, or AJ's life is really, really charming or endearing.
Yeah, I know you because of this one thing, but I wish the best for you, right? Like, or whatever it may be, because like I've seen this one side of you. I really enjoy this one side, and I only wish you the best, like kind of
Right,
thing.
yeah.
So I think it's like crazy. We went from like, I'm ripping cardboard, so now I'm ripping cardboard at my wedding,
Yeah,
kind of situation. That's amazing. Like, I love that.
I think being a part of a community is just like maybe sometimes just the first step.
Yeah.
Right. Because sometimes or for us, I can say that our friendships have like extended outside of the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're coworkers. We see each other all the time. Sometimes we'll play with each other and whatever. And it's totally fine if our relationship would end there. But for some of us, it's like it's become so endearing that you guys have been invited to these really important moments like Susha's life. And like
Yeah.
if I were to ever get married, I'm sure you guys would be invited and stuff like that. If it were ever that big, I don't know. We'll see.
Someone wife up AJ right now, right now.
But yeah, it's like these friendships and these relationships can be bigger and last longer than just like these card games. But
Yeah.
it's the card games and the LGS that get us started.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of like you it as like a seed, right? You meet somebody by playing cards. They become your friend, and then you find out, hey, I also have this interest shared with you, and then that blossoms, and then you meet more people, and then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so you find, oh, hey, like I'm part of this group, but this guy wants to play Pokemon or One Piece. I can bring him into Sully's.
Yes.
Then everything
Yeah.
just connects, and I think that's the best part of it. It's finding those like niche friends that you wouldn't know that you met at a rave, and they're like, hey, I like Pokemon too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Benz, you've mentioned that some of your K-pop friends or like,
Yeah,
people that
I've
you
ran
traded
into
with. Yeah.
back in the day. I used to be a heavy K-pop vendor, but like to see them like in our shows, and like I was like, oh my gosh, like worlds are colliding, kind of thing. Or like, when I first started working here, like I only knew I was like, well, everyone has like some sort of TCG. And then I found out that a lot of people here played League. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I have a 5-stack in League, Like, it's that kind of thing where I was like, oh my gosh, like, they have other interests, right? And it starts from one thing, goes from another. Or like, Cain talked about it earlier, like people being scared to come into the shop. I have friends that are like, whether it's my partner, my sister, like probably would have never walked into a shop, but now they actively look forward to coming in, even though they were so nervous beforehand. I was like, hey, you can hold my hand when I come in, and like you can talk to everyone. And then like now, like whether they realize it or not, like they're part of our community, right? Like, you know, the staff here has only met my partner like maybe 2 or 3 times, but now they're constantly asking me about my partner. My partner's asking about our staff. Like, oh my gosh, I saw this cool thing on like, you know, Instagram, like good job for you guys. So I think it's really cool how like, you know, it also extends into our interpersonal lives as well. Like we're looking at Susha's wife, right? Like that kind of thing, how she's part of our content and stuff like that. And how like I hadn't met her for the longest time, but like I saw her through content.
And
She
she
saw
knew
me,
who you were, yeah.
And I was like, when do I get to meet her? Like, who is this cool person? You know? So it's so cool how those, you know, like it starts off like grassroots, right? And then it branches off, like the roots are growing and extending into far reaches of our community.
Yeah, going off of what you said about it being intimidating, I kind of get that. I feel like there's, at least what we see online for the general public, there's a lot of negativity in the space. There's a lot of crazy scalping prices and things are out of stock and people are punching each other at Costco. Whoa! and it can be intimidating not only because there is that side of the hobby, but you know the market. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, I made $3. I'm a marketing genius. But I think once you kind of see past that, it's a little cheesy because it's cardboard at the end of the day, but there is something very special about like having those communities in the TCG space.
Yeah.
Nad, thank you so much for joining us
Yeah,
in
of
like
course.
such short notice because since you are, you know, you don't actually live here.
Yeah.
We were so happy to have you for this episode because for me, before we wrap up, there was like a very specific moment that like made Sully's Abode very special for me, and it was like a moment that we shared like in a more personal sense. So,
Right.
and it meant that meant a lot to me. We've also shared like a very like close moments, and like Benz has become like one of my favorite people at the shop. So it's like I'm very thankful to have the larger community, but also like the people that I've gotten to meet through Sully's. It means a lot to me. And you guys are like people who I've known for like less than like 3 years, realistically speaking.
Yeah.
And in some ways, like I see you guys more than like people I've known for like over a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
well, sorry, go ahead, Cain.
No, I was just going to like mention like it's funny because like I've known Benz for months technically.
Yeah.
We started talking like what 4 months ago technically.
I mean, I started in May, so it's
Yeah.
October. So that's what, 6 months?
5 months
roughly?
maybe.
It's been that long now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does not feel like it.
Yeah.
like as a good thing. Like that's I'm like has it been?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having
Yeah,
fun, right?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, it was like, you know, I started in May and like Cain was nice enough to like invite me to like his apartment warming, right? Like it's a very big step, especially in today's economy, you know, right? Like I was like, oh my gosh, like I get to be part of this like monumental step. Like I wasn't at Susha's wedding because I was working, but like Sush did invite me to his wedding, right? Like that opportunity was there. And again, it's like I've only been part of like the abode for now 6 months, you know. Nad, who's this person that like flies in all the way from California just to visit us or whatever, you know, like I get to be part of these people's lives. And like AJ is such a big supporter for me as well and is, you know, given me a lot of great advice. And I'm just happy to have you guys in my life.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, thank you for having me, AJ. I know I'm not too much of a common face here because I don't live here, but I hope to be kind of a familiar face.
Yeah. You'll always be a regular.
Appreciate it.
Always in our hearts.
Yeah, you guys have made it a good job to make me feel welcome. So again, I thank you, and thank you to everybody who's interacted with me and making this place really mean something to me.